G'day guys, just doing a quick update on what happened with the Facebook banning news saga, which to me was an absolute farce created by the government and the media, tricking people really, and a lot of people were tricked totally. I put a few predictions out there on the last video. Now, one of the predictions was that Facebook would come right back to the table and say, okay, cool, we accept the code of conduct legislation, we will comply and we will make agreements with selected news networks. In the last video, and that came true exactly just like that. It was about 2-3 days later, Facebook had come back to the table. And in my opinion, that was always a plan, and it was just basically to throw people off. And the way it works is create a problem, give people the solution that they want. Okay, now the solution that they've come back with, everyone was up in arms. Oh, Facebook are taking away our ability to share news. Okay, Facebook said, no, don't worry, guys, we'll help you out. We're coming back. We're a good company. And the government here was acting like they and Facebook hate each other, which is pure nonsense. They all are receiving the same strategies from above. Okay, even if you don't believe that, it doesn't matter. The end result is the end result. The Australian government is working with social media companies to create a vacuum of information. Okay, that's how you can look at it. It's a vacuum of information. So Josh Frydenberg is either incompetent or a liar. And the reason I've said that is he's come out with a statement that this new legislation will ensure that there's an even playing field in the news media industry. So this does the opposite effect, and I'll explain why. They have a certain requirement or eligibility. You need to be earning a turnover of $150,000 per year before you even are eligible to participate with the social media companies' agreements. Okay, so what that means is the smaller companies will be kept out, the smallest ones and new startups. Okay, so they will be kept out from the important area of the internet, Google and social media, which means it'll be very hard for them to start new ones. And for the small ones, basically they can't reach you guys anymore. So it's quite unlikely that they'll be around for much longer. Okay, now this is why I'm saying you've got to be either stupid, in other words, you're incompetent, or you're a liar to not be able to see that. It's pretty clear with those kind of rules, especially. Now, even more to that is the fact that even if they are earning over 150,000 in turnover, the legislation has it's the trickery at its best, because what the legislation does, it changes Facebook and Google to be customers now. Okay, so they're paying customers to these news media companies, which means they can choose as a customer. Now, if it wasn't that kind of relationship, a small independent news network could argue discrimination, right? But they can't now, because as a customer, they can make the choice. So even if a company is turning over $150,000, it doesn't matter, because Google and Facebook can make the call and decide, is this company someone that we deem that we would like to work with or not. Okay, so what we're doing is putting in the hands of Facebook and Google the power to show to the public what news networks they deem suitable. Now, it's going to create a vacuum, okay, which is essentially a smash to the freedom of information. It's also a major increase in censorship. Alright, so that's what the bottom line is, and I find it very hard to believe that the government of Australia cannot see the result of what they're doing, which tells me they're either incompetent or they're doing it on purpose. Okay, which means they are basically creating censorship on purpose. Alright, now why is that important? Two things. It's going to not just be affecting this country, they've already started talking about the similar arrangements around the globe. The second most important part to that is really the fact that when you look at censorship, it is usually the precursor to other things, namely dictatorships, tyranny, and communism. Okay, they control the information that the public sees. Now, some people out there are going to be like, well, we can still get our information for the truthers out there, the Freedom Network out there. Yes, you can. Okay, but it's not just about us. We already know things. It's about the general public. Now they're going to go into even more of a cocoon, and they will not see anything other than what Facebook and Google would like them to see. But even for us, some of the smaller networks are going to go down eventually. They're going to lose revenue, and don't think that this won't start spreading to as many digital platforms as possible. So the way Google operates, they just buy. They buy as much as they can, and Facebook does the same. So they just buy up all the other social media companies when they can, unless they also succumb to the same, I guess, corruption, really. So other smaller social media networks are now in existence. Who knows what's going to happen with that in the future? So it is a major concern what's going on here. It's censorship at its very worst. Now I just want to touch on the second point that Josh Frydenberg tried to get this across the line under, his reasoning for why this legislation needs to come in. His second point was that we're doing this to create an even playing field. We just talked about that, absolute nonsense. And the second point was to allow these networks to be paid for their original content. Now when you're talking about these major networks like Channel 9, ABC, it's not really a major concern. $30 million is not a lot of money for these companies. Not for Google making the payment, and not for 9 receiving the payment. Like I said, it's a really good covert form of carrying out the end result and pretending is to allow people to get payments for original content. The end result is the relationship becomes one of a customer, and a customer can choose where they spend their money. That's what this is really about. So you got to take a closer look at that. Now, as I said, guys, time's starting to run out. Okay, now why did I mention that we predicted this? Really to let you guys know that we've been looking at this situation from the very beginning last year. We had our action plan in place from last year. If you look back, all our files are still from then. Reads like a playbook. Our action plan is based on what we can see happening and the predictions of what we can see coming. There's a lot of people out there concerned, and there's unfortunately a lot of people still not really understanding what's really going on. And this is something a lot more different to anything we've seen, and that we need to take a different approach here. So this is why I mentioned it. It's not so that I can look cool. It's really so that we can highlight that we have the track record in place, that we've been making the right calls. And this is a call out again. Anybody that's concerned, you need to start doing something. Time is really running out. Okay, look at the censorship here. So we need to really start doing something, guys. Okay, our old modes are broken now. They've broken them. Okay, so we're inviting people, come onto our team, find out about our action plan, and do something real, because what's going on now is not stopping what's happening. It's getting worse and worse. So come on, check out our group. Okay, we're on Facebook and we're on MeWe.com. Now you can just go on the search bar and search in Citizens of Freedom, or you can click on the link which is in the description for this video here. The other thing, if you are having any comments or feedback, Definitely open to it. We had a member the other day who commented and said I was babbling. Now, would I've taken that on board. Okay, I don't make notes here, guys, so it's pretty much everything just off the top of my head. So I do apologize if I'm babbling, but the feedback's been taken. I'm trying to make the videos more concise while still getting the right information in there. Now, throw your feedback in, throw your comments in. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section, or better yet, come to our live video conference on Saturday mornings. That's Australian time, Queensland time, 10 a.m. Queensland time. And if you guys like the content, we're going to be having a series of videos coming up featuring what we're about, what's our action plan about, what's really happening, who's behind it, and what's coming. Okay, there's going to be a series coming up, so hit the subscribe button if you're interested, and thanks for watching the video, and we'll catch up with everyone soon.